In a world where the sun never set and the stars never moved across the sky, life had come to a standstill. Time seemed to have stopped, leaving the inhabitants of this strange realm locked in an eternal present. The people had grown accustomed to their unchanging lives, and many had forgotten the beauty of change and growth that the passage of time once brought. Aria, a young girl with a curious mind and adventurous spirit, longed to experience the wonders of the world beyond her village. She often spent her days wandering the outskirts of her quiet community, her bright blue eyes taking in every detail of her surroundings. Her heart ached for the chance to explore new lands, to witness the changing seasons, and to see the world in motion once again. Her village, nestled within a lush valley, was surrounded by seemingly endless plains that stretched out to touch the distant horizon. Vibrant wildflowers and tall grasses swayed in the gentle breeze, frozen in their dance as time refused to move forward. Aria's parents, simple farmers, worked tirelessly to tend to their crops, even though they never grew or withered, caught in an endless cycle of stagnation. As she roamed, Aria would often find herself at the edge of a vast and mysterious forest that loomed just beyond the village. The trees seemed to whisper secrets to one another, their ancient branches reaching out as if to beckon her into their depths. The villagers avoided the forest, believing it to be cursed and filled with unknown dangers. But Aria could not shake the feeling that there was something special hidden within, waiting to be discovered. One fateful day, Aria's curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to venture into the enigmatic woodland. As she crossed the threshold between the sunlit fields and the shadowy forest, she felt a subtle shift in the air, like the fluttering of a butterfly's wings. A sense of excitement and anticipation filled her as she took her first steps into the unknown. Little did she know that her life, and the lives of everyone in her world, would be forever changed by the secrets she would uncover within the forest of time. As Aria ventured deeper into the forest, she felt an inexplicable sensation wash over her, one that she had never experienced before. The air seemed to hum with energy, and she noticed that the leaves on the trees were no longer frozen in place, but rustled gently with every breeze. It was as if the forest had come to life around her, and she suddenly realized that, within its boundaries, time was flowing normally. Overwhelmed by this revelation, Aria could hardly contain her excitement. She ran through the forest, marveling at the way the shadows lengthened and shortened as the sun moved across the sky, something she had only heard about in stories from the elders. She watched as a caterpillar inched its way up a leaf, and gasped when she stumbled upon a small, bubbling brook, its water racing over the smooth stones in a never-ending dance. As Aria explored further, she encountered a magnificent tree, its trunk wider than her arms could reach and its branches reaching high into the canopy above. It seemed older and wiser than the rest of the forest, and Aria felt a strange connection to it. As she approached, she noticed that the tree's gnarled bark formed a face, a wise, ancient visage that seemed to be watching her with knowing eyes. To her astonishment, the tree spoke, its voice deep and resonant like the wind rustling through the leaves. "Greetings, young one," it said. "I am Elderwood, the guardian of this forest. You have discovered the last place in this world where time still flows freely. What brings you here?" Aria, though surprised by the talking tree, found the courage to reply, "My name is Aria. I have always longed to explore the world and experience the passage of time. I couldn't resist the pull of this magical forest. But why does time flow here and nowhere else?" Elderwood sighed, a sound like the creaking of ancient boughs. "Long ago, the people of this world took time for granted, squandering its gifts in pursuit of petty desires. The gods, angered by their carelessness, halted the flow of time to teach them a lesson. This forest was spared to serve as a reminder of what they had lost, and I was appointed its guardian." Aria listened intently, her eyes wide with wonder. "Is there any way to restore the flow of time to the world?" she asked, her voice trembling with hope. Elderwood paused, his ancient eyes seemingly peering into the depths of time itself. "There may be a way," he said at last, "but it will require great bravery and determination. The gods have hidden a sacred artifact, the hourglass of eternity, deep within the forest. It is said that if one can locate the hourglass and return it to the gods, they may be convinced to restore the flow of time once more. Aria's heart swelled with purpose. "I will find the hourglass of eternity and restore time to our world," she declared, her voice resolute. "I cannot bear to see my people trapped in stagnation any longer." Elderwood regarded her with a mix of admiration and concern. "It will not be an easy task, young Aria. The forest is filled with mythical creatures and ancient traps designed to protect the hourglass. You will need to rely on your wits and courage to overcome these obstacles." Aria nodded, her determination unwavering. "I understand, Elderwood. I am ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead." And so, with Elderwood's guidance, Aria embarked on her perilous journey through the enchanted forest. The deeper they ventured, the more magical and treacherous the landscape became. They encountered fantastical creatures, some friendly, others hostile, and Aria quickly learned that not everything in the forest was as it seemed. One day, as they crossed a seemingly ordinary meadow, the ground beneath Aria's feet began to shift and change, revealing itself to be a living, shape-shifting creature known as a morphling. Aria, caught off guard, struggled to keep her balance as the morphling tried to throw her off. But Elderwood, his ancient roots firmly planted in the soil, reached out with his branches to steady her, allowing Aria to regain her footing and safely traverse the treacherous terrain. As Aria and Elderwood continued their journey, they came across a village nestled within the heart of the forest. The inhabitants were a peculiar mix of humans and magical creatures living in harmony. The village elder, a wise old woman named Maelise, welcomed Aria and Elderwood, offering them shelter and nourishment. While in the village, Aria learned of the many struggles the villagers faced due to the stagnant flow of time. Crops wouldn't grow, and children born into this strange world remained forever young, never knowing the joys of growing up. Aria's determination to restore the flow of time grew stronger, and the villagers, inspired by her bravery, offered their assistance in any way they could. Armed with the knowledge and support of the village, Aria and Elderwood ventured deeper into the forest, drawing ever closer to the hourglass of eternity. As they traveled, they encountered even more daunting challenges. At one point, they found themselves trapped within a labyrinth of illusions, each turn leading them further from their goal. But Aria, relying on her keen intuition and the wisdom Elderwood shared, managed to navigate the bewildering maze and escape its grasp. In the darkest depths of the forest, they faced their greatest challenge yet, a fearsome dragon guarding the entrance to the hidden chamber where the hourglass of eternity was kept. The dragon's scales shone like obsidian, and its eyes burned with an eternal flame. Aria approached the beast with trembling legs, but a steadfast heart, knowing that the fate of her world rested on her shoulders. The dragon roared, its voice shaking the very foundations of the forest. "Why do you seek the hourglass of eternity, child?" it demanded, its fiery gaze fixed upon Aria. "I seek to restore the flow of time to my world," Aria replied, her voice steadied despite the fear that threatened to consume her. "I wish for my people to know the joys of growth and change, to cherish every moment as precious and fleeting." The dragon studied her for a moment, its expression inscrutable. Then, to Aria's surprise, it spoke again, its voice softer this time. "Your intentions are noble, young one. But beware, for the power of the hourglass is not to be trifled with. Many have sought it for selfish gain and brought ruin upon themselves and their world." Aria nodded solemnly, understanding the gravity of the dragon's words. "I promise to use its power wisely and for the good of all. I have seen the suffering caused by the stagnant flow of time, and I am determined to restore balance." The dragon seemed to consider her response for a moment before it finally stepped aside, granting Aria and Elderwood passage to the hidden chamber. As they entered, the chamber's walls shimmered with an ethereal light, and at its center stood the hourglass of eternity. Its sands glowed with an otherworldly luminescence, and Aria could feel the immense power emanating from it. Elderwood, sensing Aria's apprehension, offered her words of encouragement. Remember, young one, you have come this far because of your bravery, compassion, and determination. Trust in yourself and the strength of your convictions. Taking a deep breath, Aria approached the hourglass, her heart pounding in her chest. With trembling hands, she reached out to touch the ancient artifact. As her fingers made contact with the smooth surface, a surge of energy coursed through her, and she felt a connection to the very essence of time itself. Guided by the wisdom of Elderwood and the support of the friends she had made on her journey, Aria carefully began to channel the power of the hourglass. She focused on her desire to restore the flow of time and felt the energy responding to her will, beginning to ripple outward like the waves on a tranquil pond. As the power of the hourglass spread throughout the world, Aria could feel the changes taking place. Time began to flow once more, the stagnant air giving way to a refreshing breeze that breathed life into everything it touched. The villagers who had offered their support rejoiced as their crops began to grow and their children started to mature, experiencing the wonders of growth and change for the first time. But Aria knew that her task was not yet complete. With the flow of time restored, Aria and Elderwood returned to the Forest of Time to ensure that the balance they had worked so hard to achieve was maintained. As they walked through the forest, they noticed how the once stagnant trees had begun to grow, and the creatures that lived within the woods seemed to thrive in their newfound freedom. However, their journey had also revealed that there were still those who sought to misuse the power of time for their own gain. Aria realized that her role as the guardian of the hourglass of eternity was an ongoing responsibility, one that she would need to embrace for the rest of her days. And so, Aria and Elderwood dedicated themselves to their new purpose, working tirelessly to protect the flow of time and prevent any who might seek to exploit its power. As word of their efforts spread, they became beacons of hope and inspiration, symbols of the positive change that could be achieved through bravery, compassion, and determination. In time, the world began to transform. The once stagnant lands flourished under the restored flow of time, and the people who inhabited them learned to appreciate the beauty of change and growth. Aria's actions had shown them the importance of cherishing every moment, and they sought to live their lives with a newfound sense of purpose and gratitude. As Aria looked out over the world she had helped to heal, she felt a sense of peace and contentment. She knew that her journey had been fraught with danger and uncertainty, but in the end, her courage and compassion had brought about a new era of hope and prosperity. In the pages of history, Aria's tale would be remembered as a testament to the power of one individual to make a difference in the world, a shining example of the values that she had come to embody. And as the sands of time continued to flow, her legacy would serve as a reminder to all that even in the darkest of times, hope, bravery, and determination could triumph over adversity.